morning. Well, it's morning for me. It's Thursday the 5th of June, and today is the day when I'm starting my Jester challenge for 2025. It is not the nicest of days. It's raining at the moment, and there's some pretty blustery conditions kind of going on outside of the Cardiff Bay. However, I need to get myself down to Plymouth by the 14th, and I've been waiting as long as I can. I've been putting it off for a week and hoping for better weather. It hasn't really come, so just going to have to make the most of what there is. At the moment today, it's not too bad. The wind is kind of 5 or 10, 15, maybe 20 knots. But of course it's coming from the southwest, and the direction I need to go in is to the southwest. So have a quick look at the weather. Okay, so this is windy for the Bristol Channel, and as we can see it's okay at the moment. It is. So that's 5 o'clock this evening, 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock this evening, 11 o'clock tonight, and it's getting a bit breezy here and there, but as you can see the wind is on the nose all the way down the Bristol Channel. So that looks to be about all I've got at the moment as I'm offline. The Met Office forecast is much the same. West, southwesterly, maybe northwesterly, rain, showers, gusting 4 to 5, gusting to 4, 6. So it's not going to be the most exciting. Well, it might be exciting, but for the wrong reasons. So it's going to be just one of those days. Just trying to get out of the Bristol Channel, this kind of tidal trap. Luckily, it's neap tides, so it shouldn't be too much tide. So I should be able to keep going. So I'm going to make some preparations and get on with things, and be reporting back almost immediately, I'm sure. So as we head out, it's looking as if it might actually clear up a bit. The next trip through the Barrage is at 12 noon, so I'm hoping to catch that. So here we go. Right, engine off. We're sailing in horrible rain. We're out of Cardiff now, and the strong winds that I was expecting, well, they're not here yet. Which is fantastic. but also the Met Office said it was going to stop raining at 12, and it's 12:25, and as you can see, it's certainly raining. Oh yes. Never mind, this is very pleasant, a nice way to start. Over there in the distance there's a sail whales training ship. I don't know if you can see that. Probably if I zoom it in a bit when I'm editing. Seems to be the only other nutcase that's out this morning. So yeah, we went through the barrier okay, the barrage, and now we're bimbling along very steadily at 2.5 knots. Woohoo! 2.5 knots! That's going to pick up. You wait and see, it will. It'll pick up. Well, it's wet. It's still raining. But I must admit, before I started out this morning, I was a bit apprehensive about this leg, because the weather forecast has been pretty awful. Strong gusty winds, 10-25 knots, coming up to 30s. Well, I think there's a coming, but at the moment, just headed out from Cardiff. We're about, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles out now, and it's pretty benign really. We've got 7 or 8 knots of wind, and we're pottering along okay. As you can see, there's not much to really see. There's some nice Welsh land over there, and yeah, we're going to keep heading on. Actually, the sky's brightening up. I think it's not impossible that it might possibly stop raining. We're about 3 hours into the trip now, and the rain's gone, the sun's come out. You've got about apparent wind of what? About 20 plus knots. So we're going quite well. We're hard on the wind, making about 5.5 to 6 knots. We're going vaguely, well, a little bit west of south. We're nearly at the top of the tide now, so in the next hour or so the tide will start giving us a benefit. So at the moment we're having obviously to beat down the channel. So heading south, we're going to end up on the other side of the channel near Hinkley Point soon, and then we'll put first tack and see what kind of angle we can tack through and where that gets us back to on the Welsh side. So yeah, it's going all right. Quite lively at the moment. By beating down the Bristol Channel, or is it beating us down? I'm not sure really. But we've got 20-25 knots of wind on the nose. Well, we're moving quite fast, but not really in the direction we want to go. But carry on for the moment. Well, there's nothing else to do really, is there? In the middle. Oh, I think we'll stop. No, we won't. We won't stop. Well, saying I wasn't going to stop was kind of asking for it really, wasn't it? Because straight after that the wind got stronger and the tide got stronger, and wind against tide results in big seas, as we know. So I actually started feeling rather seasick, and when you get seasick you tend to reduce your workload to the minimum to try and keep your lunch down. So I'm afraid I stopped filming at that point, but I hove to after a while to have a think, and after I'd had a think I decided that it was best to give up on that attempt and try again another day. So let's take up the story from the following morning. So yesterday was an interesting day, not what I was expecting or hoping for. It serves to illustrate that when you look at the Met Office forecast for any particular area, the wind in the app shows two values, an upper and a lower value. I was thinking, well, it's going to be mostly the lower value with the odd gust to the upper value. Actually, that's completely wrong. In my experience of 24 hours ago, that once you're offshore and away from land and the usual obstructions, the prevailing wind is the upper value. So I was bashing along in 25 knots or more of wind yesterday. Well, that in itself is actually not too bad. I don't mind that. But it's when the seas get up to over 2 meters and they're breaking and it's nose to the wind and the seas are coming over the top of over the whole boat and into the cockpit in fairly large quantities. That does get a little bit tiring after a while. So I managed to get only as far as Nash Point in 2 massive tacks yesterday because of the wind being on the nose, and I got sort of to Nash Point and it was no way. I was looking at the pilot book trying to find somewhere where I could pop the anchor down during the foul tide coming in the other direction, which was going to start in about 2 or 3 hours. And although there were some bays, none of them had holding, and the pilot book said no, only in very fair weather. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? I didn't really want to tack backwards and forwards all night, probably going backwards. So I thought the sensible thing would be to go back to Cardiff. I'll be getting a name for the person who chickens out, but I don't care. My boat is still in one piece. I'm still in one piece. I got back to Cardiff at about midnight. So interesting stuff coming back in the pitch dark. Also the furling gear got jammed, as this has happened 2 or 3 times in the past, that the line on the drum manages to get a kind of a rising turn on it, basically. So it can't be undone. You can't pull it. Doesn't matter how hard you pull it, it just buries itself deeper. Great, isn't it? So that was something I couldn't really fix that in the strong wind. So when I got round the side of Levenack Point, I hove to, took down the mainsail, then I motored gently, very slowly into the wind, went up on the foredeck, and with a screwdriver I was able to untangle the turns on the furling drum and get it all furled away. So pretty exciting and memorable day, really. Back through the lock at midnight. The guy on the lock was really helpful, actually, because they normally open the lock for inward traffic every half hour at 45 minutes to past the hour and 15 minutes past the hour. Well, I arrived just after the 45 minutes and I radioed him and he said, oh, the next one's at 00:15. And I said, okay, then I'll hang around out here and wait for it. And then he came back to me a few minutes later and said, actually, I'm going to lock you through now, which is really nice of him. So I went in, got locked through 20 minutes earlier than I should have done. So big shout out to the Barrage crew on Cardiff Bay. Then, I picked up the mooring okay, got to bed, slept for 12 hours. It was a big day for a pensioner, and so that's done. And today I'm tidying up and I have a few bits and bobs, things to sort out, such as, well, here's something that I'm just sorting out at the moment. It's Yeah, it's the venerable teapot lid. It has once again fallen apart, but I'm going to glue it back together. I don't care. It's my teapot and it's going to live again. So that's my next job now. I shall glue the teapot back together and then tidy up generally, mop up, get everything nice, and I've looked at the weather, and to use sensible weather from the Met Office, so that it's actually I'm only going to go when it's less than 25 knots and it's not on the nose. That's a lesson easily and well learned, I think. So that's going to be next Wednesday now. So let's have a look at yesterday's epic day trip around the Bristol Channel. Now, of course, I started out from Cardiff up here, and as we got down, let's zoom in a little, shall we? As we came down to Lavernock Point, everything was very fine. Obviously, this was because the wind, which was coming from the west, was sheltering me very nicely. But then once I got out here, it started brightening up a bit, and as I came down here, you can see this was the best angle I could make to the wind, and that is basically going perpendicular to the direction I wanted to be in. Once I got to Flatholm here, the wind, the tide started very slowly to turn in my favour, and you can see now interesting how with the boat set to be as close hauled as possible, and the wind vane steering, as the tide started to fall, the tidal aspect of the speed started to pick up, and so you start getting this nice curve as I went tearing down Bridgewater Bay, almost to Hinkley Point, where I could see the new power station they're building. Then before I came ashore, I put in a tack. As you can see on this, with these very strong winds, the tacking angle on this old Contessa 26, even with a brand new Genoa, is not fantastic, is it? What's that? That's about 120, 130 degrees. It's not brilliant, is it? At all. Never mind. But again, you can see as we went on, the tide continued to strengthen and started making me almost a reasonable angle. So I was actually beginning to go down channel a little bit. So by the time we got to about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I was down here just off Clantwit Major, and at that point it was really banging and crashing, and there were big waves, and I thought, it's just here, this is where I hove to, and I had a little bit of a think until I got down there, and I thought, no, this is really, I can do this on another day. It's not as if I'm earning money out of this. So then I started back towards Cardiff. Now at this point I could have gone up and put the pulled out the Genoa, and then had a preventer on the main, and I could have gone pretty much straight down here, but I was actually pretty knackered and it was very unpleasant conditions, so I decided to just do some broad reaches all the way back down, and finally got a nice angle in to Lavernock Point here again, and that's where, well, you can finally see a little wiggle there. That's where I hove to, took down the mainsail, and then I motored very slowly into the wind while I sorted out the Genoa jam, and then we motored in to the Cardiff Bay Barrage. So yeah, that was it. Oops, what's that? That's something we need. So a very busy day, spending an awful lot of time and energy in just going down there to Hinckley, back up here to somewhere aiming for Nash Point, and then realising that in fact I'd made about, if the wind was favourable, I would have got to this point in 2 or 3 hours, not the 7 hours that it took me. So a bit of a demoralising day, and I think it was the right thing to do to go back, because I was knackered. There was no available anchorages within the time that I had. I mean, I looked at Porlock Bay, but then I looked in the pilot book, and that told me that Porlock Bay was not good, apart from in very settled weather, as this holding is poor. Wasn't really anywhere else that was within range. So that was it. The end of the day, go back to Cardiff and regroup.
The way, Santi, my dear Annie. Oh, you knew your girls can't dance the polka, yes, away, Santi, my dear Annie. Oh, you knew your girls can't dance the polka.